Welcome to this week's GCN Tech Clinic. You know the score by now. You simply comment your questions in the comment section underneath the previous videos. I pick them out and answer them as best as we can. So without further ado, let's go to our first question. First up this week is a question from Paul Gordon. He says, "Hi, I currently have a felt Z75 road bike, or a Z75 road bike, which has 105 group set, Mavic Caesium disc wheels, and S-Works turbo grips and tyres. Would I be better upgrading this bike to an entry-level full carbon one, or upgrading just the wheels and tyres? Also," second question, "the bike has done nearly 3,400 miles. Is it time to change the chain?" Well, if you're looking at upgrading and you need to decide between an entry-level carbon frame or wheels and tyres, without a shadow of a doubt, upgrade to some fancy pants wheels and tyres. They are by far going to give you an overall better improvement in your performance than just going for an entry-level carbon frame, which I'm going to say is unlikely to be aerodynamically optimized. So that's where I'd invest your money. In terms of your second question, 3,400 miles on the chain. It's pretty much impossible to say whether it needs replacing. Depends what kind of conditions you've ridden in and how well maintained your bike is. Best bet, pop down to your local bike shop, ask them to check it, or if you've got a chain checker, you can check it yourself. Happy days. Next question is from DSM1891. They say, "Hey, ask GCN Tech. I'm hoping to buy a power meter soon, and there are loads of potential options to pick from. Got pedals, cranks, single and dual-sided. I'm looking to upgrade their bike and components in the future, but also conscious of cost. Which power meter type would be best? Thanks." Well, if you're conscious on the cost of things, I would suggest looking to go for a single-sided power meter. That's going to help keep the cost low. And if you're looking to upgrade in the future, I'd consider maybe a pedal-based system so that you can just transfer it across to your upgraded bike or upgraded components. There is the option to go for a single-sided crank-based system, which will also help keep the cost down and could possibly be the cheapest option. But when you upgrade your bike later on down the line, you could find that you've got components that don't quite match up with your new stuff. So I'd say a pedal-based system is probably the best to go for. Next up, Oscar Craig even, sorry. Say, "Hi, I've recently started using cleats when cycling, having used toe clips in the past, and on longer rides, finding that I'm getting pins and needles and numbness in my toes. No idea or any ideas what this could be. Currently, I just loosen off the shoes for a bit and then tighten them back up." Well, it sounds to me like the combination of getting a new set of cycling shoes and starting to use those clipless pedals is what's causing your problem. And it could be that you've not got the cleats set up in the right place, or it could be that the shoes just aren't quite the right ones for you, or third option, you might need a little bit of a different insole to add some support for your foot. First thing I would suggest, check that you've got your cleats in a fairly neutral position, so the pedal axle wants to be just behind the ball of your foot and your foot wants to be central over the cleat. In terms of advice for the fitment of the shoes and insoles, probably best off heading down to your local bike shop or seeing a bike fitter that can advise you accordingly on that. But if adjusting your cleats doesn't fix it, I think you're going to need to see someone that can give you some advice specific to how your bike is set up. Next in is a question from Andrew Donovan. "Recently I bought a set of lightweight Speedplay pedals with titanium axles. I was going to use standard grease on the threads before mounting them. Do I need some sort of special mounting compound to stop the titanium reacting with the alloy crank threads? No, I've never heard of that. Just use normal grease, nice and simple. Don't overcomplicate it." Manon always says that's my favorite phrase. Anyway, next question is from Rennie Vass, who says, "Hey y'all, looking at getting a gravel bike to do it all, brackets road and gravel." I like that. "However, a few bikes available to me come with SRAM electronic shifting and one by. I don't know if I'm ready to go one by yet. The question is, if I decided to go two by, would I need to upgrade the shifters as well? Can I just get double chain rings and front derailleur, use the same shifters?" Well, SRAM actually use their access system or AXS system, whatever you want to call it, which means you can add components in from that same series and group set, 'cause it's all kind of compatible. So in that instance, you should be able to just get the double chainring that you want, the front derailleur, and you can use the smartphone app to link it all up. However, that said, you do also need to make sure that your bike is 2x compatible. Some bikes that are set up 1x don't have the mount for that front derailleur, so check that as well. Oh, you're also going to need a longer chain. Next question is from Paradoxical Undressing. Interesting username. They say, recently I got a fancy new road bike with electronic shifting, having upgraded previously from mechanical. Now this makes shifting nearly effortless, which in turn means that my hands are getting less exercise. So to maintain sufficient manual dexterity, should I invest in a PlayStation 5 or an Xbox Series X? Yes, I think you should. To start off with, I'd suggest maybe 3 30-minute gaming sessions a week. Maybe as you develop and build from that, you can increase the duration and intensity of those gaming sessions. God dear, I do talk some rubbish. Next question, David Washbrook says, I ride with 38C tyres, but my spare tube is a bit of a chunky boy. Takes up lots of space in my seat pack. Will a latex tube take up less space than a normal butyl one? Yes, it will. Are there even latex tubes that go big enough to fit with my tyres? Yes, there are. However, if you want the smallest option to pack into your saddlebag, I would look to get a TP or thermoplastic tube. These are lighter than latex tubes and fold up super neat and compact. So take a look out for those, and they do come in the size that you need. Last question for this week. God, we've flown through this. It's from Stego675. They say, hi guys and Manon, after a small puncture in my tubeless tyre, I was thinking, is it possible to patch it from the inside with a self-sticking tube patch, or do I have to use a specific tubeless patch? Thanks in advance. Yes, you can repair a tubeless tyre. There are tubeless specific repair patches out there. If you manage to get some, it's a simple case of repairing it just in the same kind of way as what you'd do for your inner tube. So scuff the tyre up, make sure it's all clean, free of any sealant, then you can stick the patch on just as you would with your normal inner tube and you should be good to go. However, if it's a particularly large cut in the tyre, you might struggle to repair it that way, so you might have to replace it. Right, that's it for this week's GCN Tech Clinic. Hope I answered your questions. If I didn't, I apologise in advance, and please do keep commenting them in the comment section underneath. Fingers crossed we'll get some in future videos. Right, see you later.